Hello, everybody. Doing some sound checks. Anybody hear me?
Ah, yes, Jake.
Yep, you sound good.
Yes, Jake. Yep.
Hey, Joe.
How you
How's it
doing,
going?
Jake?
Pretty good, pretty good.
All right. Jake, you can hear me, right? Antonio here.
Yeah, I hear you pretty well.
All right, nice. Let's see. We got another one that's coming up.
I'm also streaming this on my YouTube channel.
On YouTube channel.
Yep.
Ah, we're gonna be famous.
My YouTube channel is tiny.
That's all right. Well, you are Jake, man. I think we still got another one. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, I'm using a new microphone. It's the Rode Wireless Go 2. Works really well with
Sounds alright.
yeah, works well with the phone because you don't need to be holding your phone in front of you, and it just plug and play, and you can stay away, stay far away, and it still works with Bluetooth.
Yeah, right now the Bluetooth tech is quite amazing. I'm using the AirPods as well, so
Nice.
yeah, it feels right not to, having your phone have to, having this link with your ear and might be, having a little sudden pull, the whole thing will just drop off. So I'm loving it. And I think we're still having another one that we're still waiting.
I saw Harry say that he's coming, so
He did, but I just can't find him here on our list. Actually, I think who is on the West Coast right now? I think it's Jake, right? Or
Yeah,
I am.
oh, you both are on West Coast?
Yeah.
yeah. It's a pretty
Somebody
large
is
place. There's a lot of people here.
no, I mean somebody is waking up for this one, so I gotta give a special shout out.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
7:30. Right.
I was a little bit worried that you guys did not take into account the time savings, and I actually forgot that it's happening. So, but I'm glad that we get an
Yeah,
extra
no,
hour.
we we did. We had to use a website called time zone converter since we are having some of you guys from London and some of you from West Coast. So
Nice.
yeah, we're giving a worldwide streaming right now, live streaming.
Very cool. Well, I have 70 people on my YouTube channel, and looks like we have 164 guests on the spaces so far.
Yep, 163 from what I see, counting.
165 right now. People are coming.
Nice. All right. Well, I think we should give him maybe another minute now. Oh, I know what's the problem now. Um, he's using a browser. I don't think browser has got a speaker.
Yeah, browser's not gonna work. It needs to be a phone.
No, he's using a Safari on his iPhone, but I believe you gotta download
Yeah,
the
it needs
application.
to be an app.
Harry, if you hear us, you need to get that application, dude. Well, I believe he can probably hear us without talking back. That sucks for you, man. But so get back on here soon. But I think we'll get a kickstart over here because shall we get a kickstart over here and he'll be coming up in a sec after he downloads the application. What do you guys think?
Sure. I mean, we can, of course, start the conversation right now.
Yeah, I mean, we do have some background to fill in. So yeah, well, let's get something started over here. So I'd love to hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another episode of MEXC Global Talk Show. This is your host, Antonio, as usual. And I'm glad that this time to discuss the development of the cryptocurrency industry with you every week. In fact, we have a really exciting topic, which is a trending project that we partner with quite close, which is Zen. And today we're going to talk about what is behind the popularity of Zen, and there are definitely a lot of exciting news and some of the backgrounds that we're going to fill you in, and of course the token price as well. So let's welcome Jake, Jake Levin, who is the co-founder of Zen Crypto. Welcome, Jake.
Yeah. Hi, guys. Very good to meet you. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely. And we have Joe here, who is co-founder and CEO of Optimize. Hey, Joe.
Hey, thanks for having me here, Antonio. I really appreciate you taking the time to host this space.
Hey, it's our pleasure to have you. And we have our big man, Harry, just in time.
Yeah,
How you
but
doing, Harry?
yeah, apologies, guys. Good morning. I was using the Safari browser, so I was having trouble applying to be a speaker. But I'm glad to be here, and hello, everyone.
No problem. You're here just in time. And Harry is a crypto experienced crypto trader and investor, and definitely a crypto mentor, as he states. And we'll see what insights will these people give us about Zen. And we're definitely really excited to have Jack Levin with us here to talk about the reason of Zen's viral. And just some of the backgrounds over here from our side. As the crypto bear market, it still continues, even there is a little bit bump in during this couple of days, but the final remaining heats of the crypto market has been almost consumed, especially after the competition of completion of Ethereum merger, the whole industry just, all the expert, pretty much most of the expert believe the crypto market may have been, may will be quiet for some time, but lately with the sudden explosion of social experience in the crypto world, which is Zen Crypto, that's coming around pretty hot lately, in fact. And for about the enthusiasm on the crypto market, definitely gives us shed shed some of the lights of its coming through. So just some of the numbers over here, when Zen, which is XEN, apology if I didn't state it out in the beginning. So when Zen first listed with us with MEXC, it rose from 0.0001 worth of USDT of its token price to the highest gain of 0.018, which is, well, damn, that's a lot of gain. And it's almost 180 times of um, gain over there on this token price. So it's definitely really eye-catching. So we're going to talk about a little bit about what's Zen background and why is it skyrocketing overnight, and also what to look at and how to look at on some of the important things of how to invest in reliable projects into the bear markets. So we do have Harry and Joe here. They are both really senior cryptocurrency traders over the time and really experienced investors as well. So I'd love to ask you guys' opinions on Zen crypto projects from the perspective of investor. And when did you two learn about Zen crypto, and also how do you guys get involved? And could you might share some of the experience with this?
I guess I'll start first if Joe
Sure,
doesn't
Harry.
mind. So firstly, I saw Jack Levin doing interviews with some small-time crypto influencers on YouTube. I found him very intriguing, some of the things he was saying. He said he was mining Bitcoin in the early days, so he's pretty much an OG. So I like to do my background checks on people, and you can see him on Bitcoin Talk. A lot of people say they were around in the early days, but we can't really confirm that. But with Jack, you can. So he has a lot of credibility in my eyes. He's also the 21st employee at Google. Well, it says on his bio. So I'm going to believe him because everything I've done in terms of doing research on him has come back clean. And he was also the founder of Image Shack, which I found very interesting because I've used it before. It's a successful image hosting website, and he's done really well in the centralized world. So you've got to think he's got a good shot of making a fantastic project in the decentralized world as well. So he stated he was going to make a crypto project based on the first principles. I loved that, and I immediately wanted to get involved. And I have a big community that I, have on Discord, and I made sure that we participated with the Zen Mints on day one, well, the claims for the Zen Mints on day one, because I saw this as I have a really, I have a gut feeling for things and getting into projects early. I know this project isn't solely based on price. It's about the adoption first and then build and then price comes later. But I just have a gut feeling that in the long term, this project is going to be really interesting, especially in the next bull market, 4 years down the line at the peak of the next one, for example, or whatever it may be. I just see fantastic. I just see it doing really well in the long term. And yeah, it's exploded. It's gone viral quicker than I expected, and I was really shocked. And I know Jack didn't want to get listed on any centralized exchanges. Well, not that he didn't, but they were kind of forced to list him because how can you not? It's fantastic. But yeah.
Right, and Jack, you got something to say?
Yeah,
Saw your mic was on
thanks,
twice.
Gary. Thanks for kind words. The explosion was actually a big surprise to me as well. I have certainly did not anticipate such interest, but coming from the as Harry would mention centralized world, I did have a few startups that I have launched, and the success of a startup is generally often connected to the type of product that you're launching. For example, does the product have a market fit? Or is it so new to the market that nobody knows what to do with it? And obviously, demand generation and marketing and all of those business aspects are extremely important. So I think what we have done is that I have took what I learned from launching startups and transplanted it into the crypto world, allowing people to learn about the project way before it actually launches, so without dropping it on everybody's heads. So I think we gained a lot of momentum even before we launched. And one thing I wanted to mention here, I alluded to the fact that I tweeted that there will be no listings on centralized exchanges, and obviously MEXC is a centralized exchange. So I'm actually quite happy that MEXC was able to list so quickly, because obviously it gives exposure to the project and it allows a lot of people to see what the project is all about. And the statement of us not listing basically means that we did not engage the centralized exchanges before we launched. So there was no, it was all organic, which is how things should be, which is how things are generally, true to the core. So if you have a good product and you have a good following, then of course, everybody's free to list. There's no need to stop decentralized exchanges from using Zen. So that's how I feel about it. But I would say a lot of other projects in crypto space, what they end up doing is that they end up engaging the centralized exchanges so that they can sell their allocation before anybody else could actually participate in the project. So that is the type of I would say plan we did not have. So we wanted it to be more organic, and we definitely got it with MEXC and many others pretty much the first day, which was a very nice surprise, and has definitely pushed the popularity of the project even further.
Yeah, definitely. And we definitely had a really um great in advance of the attention and radar and in discussion with Zen in advance as well to list Zen. So that was definitely a good one. And Joe, hey Joe,
Hey, what's going on?
hey man. So what do you think about it?
So yeah, I first saw Jack also doing an interview, an online interview at a crypto conference with a community. I don't know if it was the same community as Harry, but I saw him doing an interview, and he was very intriguing. I think the things that he spoke about were very um, intellectually curious for me, because he talked a lot about crypto first principles, and he talked about being early in crypto and kind of wanting to bring some of the original principles of crypto back. But I'll be honest, after I first saw him, I kind of checked out because there's just so much stuff going on in crypto. And then I would say about a week before Zen launched, one of my good friends on a Thursday was like, "Hey, you really need to look into Zen. The Telegram channel is going crazy. They're getting a lot of momentum, and Jack is behind it." And so I popped in the Telegram and I started looking into it. And for me, as somebody who invests, I also am an engineer, and so I like to figure out how things work, especially if they're technical, by using them. And so I built a front end for the Zen protocol called Zen.fyi, and I basically built it in like 3 days. I started on like Thursday or Friday, and then I finished the first prototype of it on Sunday. And that really gave me a lot deeper appreciation for all of the design considerations and the fundamental process that went through building the protocol. And I think that really helped me solidify one of the core things that I look at when I look at any investment, which is the technology behind the investment. And I think that with that, knowing that the technology was there and knowing that the team was there, because I already knew that Jack was credible, as Harry said, from his background at Google and launching Image Shack. and also that he'd been early in crypto. I knew he knew what he was talking about. It was really about, okay, is this thing actually going to work? Does this work the way he says it's going to work? Is the code doing what it says it's going to do? And so I think that that weekend really set me up for getting excited about the project and trying to figure out how I could engage with the community.
Nice, nice. Yeah, thank you, Joe. That was definitely interesting. And seeing an OG coming out through, um, after a decade, I believe, would be when Jack first engaged with Bitcoin mining and all. And it's definitely been a wild ride. And Jack, did you have something to respond in this?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm glad that Joe jumped on in the development fire, like so to speak, and created the Zen.fii right away, which is an alternative front end. We were a little worried that our front end is going to go down just because we were getting millions and millions of hits per hour. I think at this point, the web app has been interacted with about 60 million times, and it's pretty much been a month. So 60 million times, interaction by the events as counted by Google Analytics is something to be proud of, I think. But it also shows the community effect. So the community really got engaged with the Zen protocol, and I'm just happy that there's Zen.fii can take a little bit of the load, and we can tell people that, hey, there's alternatives to minting Zen.
Understood. Yeah, definitely. You guys are getting so much traffic that having an alternative is a good thing now. That's really interesting, dude. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing initially about how Zen is doing right now. It is definitely blowing, and in fact, the viral nature of any project is definitely not accidental. So whether it is the project mechanism or the funding team, there must be something really special. So what we wanted to, having some deeper conversation with Jack here, for him to introduce the Zen crypto project mechanism to us, and maybe some of the deeper thoughts about how why did you feel launching a Zen crypto project?
Yeah. So I kind of feel like that since the Bitcoin launched and since Ethereum launched, I would say the last 7, 8, 9 years, we kind of live in the world of the pump and dump, and also low transparency and founder enrichment. So we wanted to design something that really follows the true first principles of crypto. Um, and that's what it really came from the Satoshi's white paper. Zen actually is nothing special. It's an app layer on top of the blockchain that exposes all of the good things that blockchain brings to the people. So when I speak of first principles, those principles really, the way that I understand them, and I promote it obviously, it's self custody, on chain transparency, trust through consensus. And when I say trust through consensus, that basically means that you don't have to take my word for it. You know that uh, the code that exists on blockchain has actually been agreed by all of the blockchain miners or validators to be true code. And there's also like this saying that the code is law, so it's impossible to change. There's nothing in the code that can be altered, so it can't really be stopped in any way. And so one of the things that makes this project really interesting is that Zen token started with zero supply. There was no pre-mint of any kind. So I think those aspects really allowed it to become the true community crypto, minted entirely by the community. So it's basically not a single person contributed by themselves, and there was no team that pre-minted a billion tokens and just released them. the community itself literally just joined the mint and made this token show up in the world, which is very unique. At the time of Bitcoin, at the time of Bitcoin, that obviously knew what the Bitcoin was all about, and they pre-mined Bitcoin uh, way early before it was popular. So there was the, I would say, economic energy allocation that was somewhat not fair. But there's nothing they could do. They couldn't just say that, hey, Bitcoin is going to be great, therefore everybody should be mining it. So it was maybe about 200 people that mined Bitcoin. And so I think with Zen, we have better outcome where people know what crypto is and people can really understand what the true principles are. And if they stand behind them, then they obviously can get a bunch of Zen for themselves and play with it and learn. And I think those type of aspects, as well as the simplicity of the Zen protocol, allowed Zen to gain an intense popularity among people who wanted to participate in this project, as well as people who are just traders. They wanted to trade a new coin with kind of the unique design for 2022 at least. Obviously, Bitcoin was very similar, but since then the bar has been lowered in terms of how the projects were launched. And I specifically talk about the founding team just allocating a lot of tokens for themselves and then marketing the hell out of it, and so that they can sell it to their community, really. So that's something that we did not want to do.
Indeed. Well, I mean, afterward, there's definitely a lot of voices out there. Whether it's from your marketing or from the community. Zen did blow up. That was the fact, in fact.
Yeah, it certainly did.
Yeah. So, well, I can say it definitely is quite amazing, especially during this time of bear markets. Having a project with so much quality intention and some of the price actions are definitely perfect at the time like this, for a lot of investors. So it definitely also give and Jack's explanation gave us some of the deeper understanding of how Zen Crypto came alive. So, in fact, there are many online analysis of the sudden detonation of Zen Crypto. Can maybe Harry or Joe briefly analyze why the Zen crypto project suddenly exploded the crypto market from the perspective of investor?
Yes, guys, I think I'll start first. I mean,
Sure,
with
Harry.
regards to Zen, it went viral instantly due to the fact that anybody can basically mint Zen on their phones for a small gas fee. I mean, similar to Bitcoin in its early days when anybody could mine Bitcoin on their computers. So it's going back to them days in terms of simplicity. And also, Jack's a very credible individual. Like I said, his success speaks for itself. And all the exchanges wanted to get behind this project. They could see that there was traction behind it. It was listed everywhere, and all of a sudden, it went viral instantly, and it was as simple as that. Did you hear me, guys?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I would dovetail on that, and I would try to wrap that up into a simple word, which is equity, which is defined as the starting point where everybody kind of gets involved in the project. And Zen really introduced that original value proposition of equity, similar to how Bitcoin started, but it's just on a much larger scale. And like Jack mentioned earlier, it flies in the face of tactics like pre-mines, allow lists, IEOs, ICOs, and any type of unfair network advantage that certain participants would gain over others. And so with Zen, the community has an equity ownership in the protocol, which encourages them to share it with others, because you don't run into all of the objectionable questions of, well, who has this or who has that, when you can just say, all you have to do is just pay the gas fee and you get to participate just like anybody else gets to participate. And if you want to mint 10 wallets because you think that's better, then you can mint 10 wallets and do, 10 times more work. But you're participating at the same level of everybody else. And I think that that sense of fairness we haven't seen in crypto in a really, really long time. I think Ethereum probably kicked off the launch of the ICO craze, which made everybody figure out how to try to do some sort of mechanism to get some allow list. And I think Zen kind of reversed everything back to the original first principles. And I think that that's what's allowed a lot of people to get excited about it. And then once the people are excited, everybody else follows. So that's where you get these organic listings from exchanges and stuff because they realize, oh, our community is excited about this project. The community is excited because of the first principles. And so you get this huge, massive compounding explosion from the network effect growth of the community.
Understood. Yeah, very nice indeed. Yeah, I mean, what's Jack, have you did you expect things would go this way, like 100%, or?
Actually, I had zero expectations, and I think it's kind of like a Zen it's a Zen moment for me as well. No expectations, could have failed easily. Had no idea if I'm doing everything right or not. But I would say when we uh, released the white paper and started getting feedback, we felt that it was something special, something different. And then obviously when the testnet went live and testnet was really available about a month before the launch, I think it allowed people to learn more about what we're doing, and the level of excitement grew even before launch, as well. So it kind of gave us a sense that we need to be prepared just in case if it's super popular. So we needed to make sure that we have enough capacity. We have good RPC partners like Infura, and there's QuickNode, participating. So like all of these things, we're also running on our own nodes just in case if we don't have enough RPC capacity for the load. And so we were expecting the worst, hoping for the best, and looks like we got something really good at launch. I feel like because um, looking at the stats within the first 2 days, 500,000 wallets participated in Mint, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And then a few days later, we launched on Binance Smart Chain, blockchain, so BSC, and we had even more engagement on Binance, which is just crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, um, that was definitely really exciting for a lot of us to see how popular the Zen is going on, especially during this bear market, like I mentioned before. But wondering, is it due to, is it the excellency of your marketing or the creativity of product mechanism, or is there something else that you guys are doing that is definitely hitting the point and doing things right?
Well, I think it's just a combination of many things that aligned together really well. And one of the things that really helped is complete transparency. So, as I mentioned before, I posted our light paper on Twitter very early before the project started. Then we had the testnet running for a month before launch, so people were able to prepare. And then, obviously, the tokenomics behind Zen are also interesting and somewhat uncommon in the contemporary world of cryptocurrencies. Um, so at the end, what I'm hoping for is our team and our community could effectively lift the bar for launching better, safer, and more honest crypto projects. And I think uh, we're succeeding at that because I'm getting some people DMing me and saying, "Hey, is my project following first principles?" Because they feel like uh, those aspects that I just described should be a part of their project too to gain traction. So I'm very happy that people are trying to do that.
Understood, understood. Thank you, Jack. And well, since Zen, the whole Zen white paper advocates, I would say, Satoshi Nakamoto's first principle in the Bitcoin white paper. So you might share with us on this and how it becomes, Zen crypto.
Sure. Yeah. So I was mining Bitcoin pretty early. I learned about it, I think, at the end of 2010, and I started mining a lot of Bitcoin in 2011. I think I was mining maybe 3 Bitcoins per day. I did give away most of it. So I bought. I was mining for 2.5 years, I think, and I had my own data center. So ImageShack.com had data centers. That was before AWS cloud really went big. So we had our own data centers, and we had a lot of power and a lot of equipment. So we were hoping to use Bitcoin to pay for the data center costs, and it definitely helped. But I have been spending Bitcoin buying pizzas and buying lunches and giving it away to people as gifts for pretty much, all those years. And so going back to Bitcoin genesis, so Bitcoin launched in 08, 09, kind of like it got incepted during 08, 09 financial crisis. It was relatively unknown, but the message was, I would say, very powerful. And it took many years for the market to develop uh, uh, the blockchain technology, and even and even now the popularity of crypto world is only about 5% of the
Right.
world today.
Hmm.
And so there's 95% of people out there that do not even understand what blockchain technology brings to the world. And so uh, what I thought about launching my own crypto, I often look to the people that I admire the most, and I really admire Elon Musk and people like Steve Jobs and all of those people that changed the way of uh, we think about the world. So obviously Steve Jobs and iPhone, and Elon Musk is electric cars and self-landing rockets, and things like Neuralink could be very, very interesting, and internet for everybody with Starlink. So that's like super great. So all of those people, I think they follow first principles, and the way that I would describe uh, the principles is that it allows the technology to assist humanity in a task of securing assets with the true sense of self custody. And I'm talking about blockchain here. And I would say that if you own your keys to your assets, it is as simple as that. Your economic energy is stored on blockchain. You have your keys. Nobody should be able to take it away from you unless you give it out freely. And that's what a lot of people really do not understand, that the funds are not in their wallets, it's actually on blockchain, but they have this ownership of this virtual blockchain based real estate that belongs to them and them alone. And that, I would say, is probably the most important first principles of the Bitcoin white paper. And so with Zen as a project, we aim to educate the rest of the world, which is about 95%, about what crypto was invented for by exploring first principles and exposing the this message by having Zen out there in the world and people interacting with Zen. So Zen is like a carrier mechanism that carries the idea, that teaches people how to practice uh, with blockchain and develop, I would say, safe habits, so that people are the other people out there who are trying to exploit the popularity of blockchain. And I mean, obviously they all have this sort of equal playing field. 95% of people in the world could be learning about crypto, but learning it in the wrong way. And we're hoping that Zen Crypto introduces the right ideas and the right thinking behind it.
That's definitely really cool, man. And I mean, we've seen countless projects right now that's out there that's providing this new idea, that innovation, and this and that. But having a simple idea, Zen crypto that's coming out, even with your website that's faircrypto.org, that's giving a lot of thoughts that just It's simple, but it's really important for a lot of people that's out there as well. And what you were giving out, what you're doing right now is definitely really more important than giving out useless, innovative ideas or technology. I will believe, personally.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, definitely. And do you mind giving us a little bit more about the consensus mechanism of community first and proof of participation type of thing adopted by Zen to your community users? What are the advantage of this mechanism?
Right. So at first there was proof of work, and then there was proof of stake. And
Right.
so with Zen, we introduced proof of participation. And so with the proof of participation as part of the protocol, you do not need to spend electricity to mine anything. You do not need to stake large amount of money to earn your rewards. All you need to do is choose one of the nine blockchains, perhaps your favorite one, and start minting Zen together with the rest of the community by paying just a little bit of gas to the network. So it's different in a way that with proof of work and proof of stake, generally the rewards are limited, and the more people are engaged, the less rewards they get. So that actually creates a lot of kind of like a run on the crypto. With Zen, what we're doing, we're actually increasing the the mint uh, issuance. So you will mint more if more people are participating. So it's actually in reverse. So the more people are joining the community to mint, the more everybody makes. Now there is of course also difficulty element, but it's completely time based. So as time goes by, the difficulty increases about 1% per month. So in about 2 years, you will be making 25% less than, and then in about 4 years, you will be making about 50% less than when you're participating. And in about 8 years, the whole minting will pretty much shut down to some really really low number. However, you will be able to stake Zen, and you will be able to get about 2% after about 8 years. So staking will definitely work. And so I would say the community first principle speaks for the community ownership, not some giant founder allocation, which would have created an economic inequality from the very beginning of the project. So I think like those things, the interesting tokenomics, interesting economic engine that empowers the social engagement, and also transparency and community first is what makes Zen so popular.
That's really interesting, man. And what you need more people to gain more profits in terms of maintaining Zen, and as time goes by, the difficulty goes up. It's kind of like Bitcoin halving, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's based for.
Mm.
So Bitcoin halving was, I guess they would reduce the issuance by 50% each 4 years, which I felt was a little bit too dramatic. So I decided to introduce the daily reduction. So there is an amplifier we call AMP. It's in the beginning of the genesis when the protocol is launched. It's set to 3,000, and every day it ticks down by one. So in 3,000 days, the
Ah,
amplification pretty much goes away.
I see. Okay. That's interesting. Yeah, well, I mean, what is your long-term goal of Zen Crypto? And would love to know more about some more, new plans or next steps about it as well.
Uh, well, the long term goals is to get the 95% of the world into crypto. Uh, so
We're with
that's
you on that. You got to
yeah,
know that we are with you.
yeah, of course. I mean, I think it will help everybody. I mean, it will
Yeah.
help because when I say 95% of the world, we're talking about regular people, but also developers. So there are geniuses out there. They don't even know that they're geniuses yet, that will be onboarded perhaps through Zen, and will help this sort of like worldwide development of blockchain, and would make it even better and more accessible for the rest of the humanity, which is awesome. So I would say my wish is to play a part in this aspect, and if this wish comes through, then I would be very happy.
Understood. Yeah, I mean, I definitely, and that long-term goal, I believe, not only Maxi and also I believe Joe and Harry is on their missions of, advocating about crypto and giving some of the basic educations as well. And yeah, thank you, Jack, for that for that. And we can definitely see a lot of hard work and dedication behind Zen. And finally, we want to talk about the question that, all pretty much most of our community users are looking forward to. Could you share with us your investments experience and how to find a reliable project, especially in the bear market? And I mean, this question definitely what we're expecting from Harry and Joe as well. So whichever wanted to go first.
Yeah, so I'll go first again. I
Okay,
mean,
Harry.
things I look at when I'm researching projects in the bear market, does the project have product market fit? Do they have the relevant treasury finances to survive or weather a crypto winter? Because in my opinion, it could last longer than most people expect, although people think the bottom's in. And finally, is the community still engaged and is it growing regardless of the downturn in the market? That is also key because community is the foundation as well as the team, of course. So these are the things I look at. But in terms of looking forward for potential ROI in the forthcoming bull market, what I tend to look at is for potential new narratives in the space. For example, in 2018, all we had was ICOs. People were releasing ICOs. That was the only innovation. And then we were talking about DEXs, the promise of DEXs. We had IDX, which was kind of, it wasn't really there. And then 2019, we saw the emergence of DeFi and yield farming. So it's these new narratives that we want to kind of try and focus on and identify early. And these are the new narratives that tend to provide the most ROI for investors during the next bull market. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at. And in Zen's case, what you find, like in 2018, a lot of the projects that released during the 2018 bear market tend to do well in the bull market after. But yeah, so they're the kind of things that I look at when it comes to identifying projects in the bear markets and researching.
Nice. Thank you, Harry. Yeah, really important points. It's regardless the market's going downtrend, the community is still growing. And as for Zen, you gotta grow your community in order to earn more. So that's good. That's a good one.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. And yes, Joe.
Yeah, I think Harry hit on a lot of really good points. For me, I like to try to keep things very simple, so I have a little alliteration that I use, which is I look for
Yep.
three things: team, timing, and technology, or team, timing, and tech. So for the first one, what is the composition of the background of the founding team or the people that are building the project? Harry touched on a lot of good concepts that came up, and especially with DeFi, when you saw a lot of the DEXs start showing up, those teams were financially based teams. They knew enough about math and they knew about a linear algebra to be able to build these more complex systems that didn't require a central limit order book to allow assets to trade in crypto in a trustless fashion. So, who are the team members that are behind whatever's being built? The second thing I look for is timing. So, this is kind of to Harry's narrative thing, right? Is now the time when people are ready to accept this new narrative? And a lot of people say the word product market fit. And what I define that as is the customers are pulling the product away from you faster than you can actually deliver. And I'm sure that that's what Jack is feeling right now as he's building Zen, where people are building and giving him so many ideas and adding so much value to the project faster than he can even synthesize all the information. So that's the timing piece and the product market fit piece. And then the third one is the technology. So if you have those first two, can you actually even execute on building whatever project it is? If you're doing an NFT project, if you're doing a DeFi project, if you're starting with this new narrative of the crypto first principles, can you actually even build the contracts, or can you actually even build the servers and run the servers and get everything up and running? Because we've seen lots of times in this space, people will promise something and then they won't be able to deliver from the technological standpoint. The team looks great. It's now is the right time to do it, but it just doesn't materialize from a technological standpoint. So I think those three things are key in trying to identify any opportunities that you might see. And even if you get those three, there's always something that could happen where you try to find something that looks like it meets all the criteria and then it fails. So there's definitely a lot of risk, but
Yeah.
that those are the three things that I choose to try to identify.
It's just some basic requirements of, DYOR type of thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
All right.
those are the three things I can use, and then you're at the mercy of whether or not the team actually executes and the timing is right and the technology works. So.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Jake.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. I think it was very eloquently put, and I totally agree. The team is probably one of the most important aspects when it comes to potential success of the crypto project. So, myself personally, I really like knowing who is behind the crypto projects. I wouldn't be as interested in participating in a project with some anonymous team. And the question really is like, why are they anonymous? Is that because they're not certain that they're gonna be successful and they're gonna run away with everybody's money, and it will make their getaway a little bit simpler? So, in case of our team, so we're completely transparent, and I feel like the first principles really help us to be transparent, because we don't have any more Zen than anybody else out there. So everything is fair, and we're not really worried that people are going to come after us and somehow be upset at us for launching an open source project that belongs to the world. And so yeah, I think the team aspect when it comes to the projects out there, if there was a directory of of the projects that did use first principles as a core, as a starting point, I would really love to see that, because I would be very interested in investing.
Understood. Well, I mean, so right now, like you're saying that, we are all advocating and also doing some of the basic education to broaden the adoption of crypto. The roughly 95% of people around the world. But right now, even there's only 5% of us that are in this space. But I believe, uh, including the states, there a lot of people are talking about legalizing it, or putting a law, legislation over the whole crypto type of thing. What I mean, wouldn't that be a main reason, all the team or developers to be anonymous in some ways? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think on one side everybody wants to be Satoshi, right? And Satoshi has been anonymous, right? We don't know
Right.
who he was, or perhaps some people know, but they'll not tell us. I mean, like, hey, I mean, it's sometimes mystery is interesting. I just don't think that when it comes to people giving their money into some mystery shadowy supercoder team, that's where uh, the mystery may backfire, so to speak.
Right. Yeah, I mean, since we're a centralized exchange, we're totally with you on that, and we are doing as transparent as we can right now. But the whole I'm just personally wondering this whole idea of was a quote decentralized. That's I believe that was why Satoshi went underground when he did. So I mean the whole decentralized concept is just starting from there.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. So there's two aspects. There's the technological aspect, which is
Hmm.
decentralization, and you could argue uh, the blockchain belongs to everyone in a decentralized way, so that we do not need to know every single person participating in the blockchain. So privacy is definitely everybody's right. But then what I see and what I have seen in the past is that people abuse this narrative, and they say, okay, we're completely, we
Right.
have our privacy, nobody knows who we are, and now give us your money, right? And that is a perversion of blockchain tenets, I would say, because they're trying to gain the trust by saying we're all decentralized, therefore you do not need to know who we are. But yet somebody really has the wallet full of cash and
True.
about to take off somewhere. Right.
Yeah, I mean, so that really depends on where you do the decentralized at. It's definitely not on. It's definitely not. Even with the team is really transparent, and with the whole coding and the whole smart contract are all online. Everybody can see it. It just really comes down to whether it is for everybody to participate and whether it is to safe enough for people to join and invest in or even be a part of team
Right.
on the concept. Yeah.
Right. So I would say that if every project out there 100% was on chain, transparent, no admin keys, no original addresses, then if that was the case, then nobody really needed to know who the people are, because the technology of blockchain being decentralized would align with the first principles of the financial aspect as well. But the difference now is that if you take two different projects and one of them is launching completely anonymous, and it has all of the aspects that speak against decentralization, that's like an amplification of the potential scaminess score, I would say. So, but if everyone had decentralized projects and everybody followed first principles, then nobody would really, first of all, worry about hiding, or even if they were anonymous, then nobody would care, because on chain you would see that there is no way that they can steal your money, like, so to speak.
True. Yeah. Thank you, Jake. That was quite a discussion. Love it. All right. Well, I guess that would definitely conclude all the questions from our side, from MEXC side. And we are doing this a little bit different from since last Twitter Space in our Q&A session. We had picked questions from our warm up tweets, which is pinned right now in this space, and we have picked 5 questions over here, and we will be giving out 30 USDT worth of Zen to each participant that has asked question and has been picked from by our guests. And I will be asking the question next, and whoever is listening, whoever got picked over here, will be sending you the rewards. So the first question coming up, who is from Zen Crypto. So the question is, according to my research, Zen has no initial coin supply. It says supply is generated by all people that participate in the POP protocol through minting of their own coins. But will there be any limit per user? I believe this is for Jake.
Uh, Yeah. So is that the question about the total
Yeah,
supply? Okay.
total supply and any limits for per user.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good question, and uh, it's very interesting in the sense that there is no limit per user. However, because the blockchain, like specifically Ethereum, and pretty much every blockchain out there is limited by its capacity, it has to charge gas because otherwise people would just spam it with useless traffic. So the amount of gas that you're willing to pay is your limit. Now, nobody has unlimited money. Well, maybe some people do. I mean, the people who can print the unlimited money, they have it. And that's partially the problem we're trying to solve, right, with blockchain and crypto. But you're
Sure.
limited by the number of gas dollars that you're willing to pay. That's one. And of course, you're also limited by the difficulty um, that is established by the amount of time that has elapsed since Zen Genesis.
Understood. Well, thank you, Jake, for answering that question. And we have before we go on to our second question, I'd love to have Harry and Joe. Did you guys have any question for Jake in this sense, since we are having our first session over here? And it's a free discussion session right now.
I mean, not really. I'm just enjoying the discussion, guys. But yeah,
All right.
that's it, really. Yeah.
All right, man. Well, if you do have any ideas or thoughts, just feel free. I'm always watching your mic, so feel
Okay,
free to
great.
just unmute and I will ping you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you, Harry. So, our second question coming up, is from Crypto Trader, which is CRIPTOTRADEIR. That's the that's his or hers Twitter handle. So the question is, does it make sense if we buy Zen right now, only to know that minting will last until 8 more years? In such time, more Zen token will be minted. The question is, how do we manage the inflation with the quote at that time? And I believe this one's for Jake as well.
Okay, well, my initial response would be I would say it makes sense to mint because if you think about it, minting is very similar um, to buying because you're paying with gas, but you're buying not from anyone else, you're buying from the contract, like so to speak. And of course, part of
Mhm.
the value is the time that you're willing to wait. So you could wait 400 days right now, which is a long time. If you do want to grab a lot of Zen quickly, like right now, buying is definitely an option, and a lot of people can choose to pursue um, buying on the exchanges or anywhere else. And the reason to do that would be just to compress the time you need to wait. So if you're not willing to wait or put in the work with Mint by creating a lot of wallets and waiting for 100 days, you can just buy it instantly and you're buying somebody else's time, in a sense. But I would say, as with any crypto coins out there, the volatility, especially of the early projects, is generally very extreme. So getting Zen at a good price is probably harder than you think. So please be very careful when you trade, because you think, oh, it's down 80%, but you know what? It could go down another, 20%, and then it's down 95%. So uh,
Right.
it's a little bit safer to mint, but you need to wait long. You need to put some work. And then, of course, I mean, there's excitement in buying. I mean, you could buy it at the right time. So um, Zen landed at 5 zeros and 6 just a week ago, and then it pumped eight times, just because a lot of Asian markets all of a sudden discovered Zen, and TP Wallet started to advertise Zen as a trending coin. So a lot of Asian population just quickly started buying it up, and it went up from 5 zeros and 6 to 4 zeros and 54, something like that. So it's like 8x, 9x in just a couple of days, like literally 3 days. And the volume was close to $50 million per day, which was definitely a lot of activity. So some people did make a lot of money, but then when you buy, there's also a question when you sell. Like, you may sell too early, you may sell too late. So it's always a moving target. So be very, very careful when you're engaged in trading. And that's obviously goes not just for Zen, but for everything else too.
Yeah. And I mean, 8 years, man. 8 years is hell of a long time, especially for this whole internet craze. You gotta know, we didn't even have internet, less than 2 decades ago. So 8 years about, minting Zen is definitely some thoughts that you don't have to take into consideration.
Yeah. So crypto years, they're like dog years. So
Right.
10 years in dog years is like 50 years or longer. I guess depends on the dog in crypto versus the rest of the technology. So 8 years is a long time.
True. True, true. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Jake. So, we have our third question coming up, and I do believe that before we get that, I would love to invite somebody from possibly Zen community to maybe ask their question as well. It's a pro bono type of thing. We have, I just saw this guy might be, having some thoughts he wants to share. Ted Ape.eth. Hey man, you're live.
Hey, good morning. So I had a question
Morning.
about, oh, and thanks for bringing me up, by the way. I had
No
I had a
problem.
question about what to do after your mint days are up and you can claim, because I see you can stake it, but then can you claim more on this at the same time on the same wallet, or do you have to use, or is it only one function at a time? Like you can only, it's either or, you can only stake or mint, or can you do both?
Good question. You can stake and mint at the same time. So because it's two different functions, there's no any sort of restriction of minting and staking. So, like for example, if you don't want to mint and somebody sends you some Zen or you buy it, you can stake it, and then the same wallet can start minting it. Or your mint can end, then there's a function mint and stake. So it goes straight from minting into staking, and then immediately you can execute another mint function with the same wallet.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I saw those options there. I just haven't gotten to that point yet, so I was just curious, and thanks for clarifying that. Appreciate it. Hey, thanks Joe for making that UI. It's awesome. Jack, thanks for making this whole freaking project. Love it. I love how we're circling back to the original principles of crypto. And MEXC, thanks for hosting this space.
Thank you.
Definitely, thank you. All right, man. Thanks a lot. And that definitely came out as a pro bono surprise type of thing. And my apologies if that comes up a little bit out of blue, but I do go around on all these people that raise their hands, and I read your tweets. So if you're really into the topics, especially what we're talking about, and you retweet it or you have something, I do see you have something to share, I would definitely bring you up on on that. But other than that, we will be sticking with our schedule question here. So the next one, question number 3 is from Biscophobia with a P. So the question will be, can you tell us the secret of the approaches or principle used by your team on the success of Zen token to gain much popularity, particularly during this struggling time of cryptocurrency?
Yeah, so so I think the best projects launch during the most difficult times, because it is during the difficult times that people can focus on things that really matter rather than the pump and dump. So, like, imagine if Zen was launched during the bull market. There would have been so much more distraction by other projects that probably would not even be anything special. But the way that they say that rising tide lifts all boats. And so uh, the secret is to launch the project that really matters in the bear market. And I think Bitcoin did the same thing. And because there was a need for the world to have Bitcoin, and I think in this year, 2022, there is a need to have Zen. You know, the to answer the I guess the rest of the question on principles, I think our team has been very transparent about our plans, and everybody knows who we are. We also launched on 9 chains, exposing Zen project to a lot of people in a very short amount of time. And the last thing, but not least, is that you can't beat free. So people love free stuff. It's like, people they know what the free airdrop is. And hey, with Zen, you're making your own free airdrop. Uh, you just pay a little bit of gas, you join the community, you understand first principles, and you get rewarded with Zen. And I think the game mechanics behind it is very easy to understand. So people jump into it and make Zen project popular.
Understood. Thank you, Jake. All right. Well, that would gives us our last question that will be coming up from Fox Relaxed. So the first thing that investors look for in a project is security of funds. So what is the team doing to increase investors' confidence?
What is the team doing to increase investors' confidence? So
That's a hard one, huh?
actually, it wasn't very hard at all to do
All
that.
right.
So blockchain speaks the truth. And so, if you're not confident about blockchain being decentralized and true, then you cannot have confidence about anything. And
Right.
so, what what we have done, we have built an application which is Zen on top of blockchain to amplify things like no administration keys, no admin keys. The contract is immutable; it can't be changed by the founding team. It can't increase the mint, it can't decrease the mint, it is impossible to stop. So that's what I would call the technological security. And the other aspect of the Zen founding team is that we don't have Zen Crypto. We didn't have it to begin with. So it is impossible for us to get unfair economic advantage by selling early. And that, I think, increases investors' confidence because there's nobody out there who will try to take advantage of the investors. And of course, the other thing to note is that Zen has been audited by a security firm just to make sure that everything works uh, as designed. And that's also very important because an audit costs money and it takes time to fix the contract when it's potentially broken. Um, so our team took time and effort to make sure that the code is solid, and we had a third party look at it. So I think that also increases the investor confidence.
Understood. Understood. Thank you, Jake. Yeah, well, that definitely really is some discussion, and we did get something really detailed discussed over here by answered by Jack, and also some more third party perspective or development team perspective from Harry and Joe. So thank you guys for coming in and joining in our discussion.
Yeah, no problem. I enjoyed it. Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, Antonio, I really appreciate. Yeah, Antonio, I really appreciate it, and thank you, Jack, and thank you, Harry, for sharing your thoughts as well.
Yeah, man. Thank you, Joe, and thank you, Jake. So
Thanks, Antonio. Thanks, Harry
yeah,
and Joe. Very good to meet you guys. At least in voice. We should probably get together and talk about the future plans in terms of the Zen ecosystem and what we could do. Discuss what we can do better.
yeah, I would love to.
Of course, and Jack, if you're ever in England, give me a shout.
Awesome. We'll do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice. All right. And yeah, I'd love to thank our community and also Zen's community and everybody that's from any part of the world that joined our in-depth discussion with co-founder Jack and Harry and also Joe. And that will conclude our Twitter space for the day. So if you do have any more thoughts, questions, suggestions, feel free to join our community Max, which is on Telegram with is MEXC English with a blue check mark. And if we find your question is really interesting and we can answer it on ourselves, if it's really related to Zen projects, we will definitely forward your question to Jack or Harry or Joe to have your question answered. And if you do have really good suggestion, we'll definitely forward them as well. So that will conclude our Twitter space for today. If you haven't joined our Gleam Pass, please check our pinned tweets. We still have some couple minutes left for you to fill in the form and join the events that we have. And that would be the end. Thank you guys for coming. Have a good